Hey, Dad, you remember back in '82 when I could throw that pigskin a quarter mile?
Quarter mile? I thought it was 80 yards. I
Hey,
almost quarter mile.
How much you want to bet I could throw the football over those mountains over there?
The mountains?
Sir, yes, sir.
Give me that.
Got to put the old jersey on for this story.
Put the jersey
Yeah.
on. Is that the Nebraska jersey?
Brother, you know it is, my man. You know it is. Thank you for joining today. Dad and I working on the Galaxy a little bit today, and there's a story I tell from time to time. We get together and we cut it up a little bit here and there and jib jaw. And a story I tell is from back when I was in college, and back in right before Nebraska hit it big in '94, '95, and with Nebraska's season this year, Dad, they're looking pretty good, right?
Yeah.
That new quarterback.
Yeah.
For the last 20 years, there was hope for me. It seems like, but now I don't think they're gonna be calling.
I don't think. Yeah. At your age, probably phone ain't gonna ring.
Let me put this jersey on. We'll get started.
All right.
So Johnny, how we looking over there, buddy? Let me know when you want the shot. I want to get me just right so I don't look like I'm starting to wilt at this age. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. It's happened to me too.
Should get that double chin out of there if you can.
I think you look good.
When you're 80, you're past wilt. You don't wilt too much.
It's all done. It's already happened.
Going the other way.
It's all downhill.
You're going the other way.
He's looking prettier every day.
Getting
You guys
prettier.
are looking pretty dang good.
Yep. Let me know when you're ready, buddy.
Dude, so did Nebraska really want you to be their QB?
Well, that's the story we're here to tell,
That's the
buddy. That's
rumor.
the
So you're
story.
gonna tell that story?
That's a
We're
story
telling the story,
Osborne
yeah.
says.
That's why I brought
I
the
think he
jersey. You know
tells
what I
the
mean?
story.
Okay.
I appreciate you taking the time
I
coming
think it's
over.
in his
Thank you.
book. It might be a whole chapter in his book
Yeah.
on that, on the Osborne book.
All right, let's tell it.
So, welcome to the channel. Appreciate you joining. We like to do a lot of different things on our channel. We work on cars, we look at cars, we talk about cars, and we tell stories. And today we're telling a story from back when I was in college, back in the early 90s. I believe it was the fall of '93. The season had just started. And they were doing, I don't know if they had one game under their belt, but they had an issue with quarterbacks. Tony Veland was hurt, Mickey Joseph was hurt, and they put an article in the Daily Nebraskan, which is a school paper down there on campus, and it said, should I be looking at the camera, John?
You don't have to.
Okay.
You don't have to.
And thank you. And the article said, if you played high school quarterback, we want to talk to you. Come on and see us over the stadium, basically, because it was that situation they were in. They were putting an article out. If you're on campus, you played high school quarterback, come on over. And it said in that article, you have to have good athletic ability. You got to throw the ball so far, be so fast, and good team leadership. You mean you had to be a leader. So I said to myself, quarterback material. So
in big letters.
So I take that paper and I go over to the stadium, and mind you, I'm probably 5 foot pretty and 160 pounds wet maybe at the time. I've filled out a little bit since then, but not for the better, I might add. But so I get over there and there's this lady at the bottom of the stairs, like there's a stairs going up to the offices, and I says, hey, I'm here about the quarterback position, and she sends me upstairs. She didn't actually laugh. That lady didn't laugh.
Out loud.
Yeah.
She laughed inside.
Inside, she was probably laughing. Well, I go up the stairs and I get up to the offices because they're attached to the end of the stadium there, on the south side of the stadium-ish. That's where the offices were at the time. And I get up to the top of the stairs and the carpet's red, Husker red, whatever color that is. It was red carpet with all the offices and a ton of photos of like, all the horses of the years past, you know what I mean? Awards and everything, and then all these different offices. And kind of there in the center was the secretary station, and there was 2 ladies sitting in there, and right behind there was Tom Osborne's office. You could see his office, but he wasn't in there. And so I walked up to the station, the secretary station. I'm like, oh, I'm here for the quarterback position, and they actually did laugh. They laughed, and they said, well, you need to go down and see recruiting coach Dave Gillespie. And I'm like, oh, Mr. Gillespie, you know what I mean? He was actually, Mr. Gillespie was like the magic behind the '94, '95. He was a recruiting coach for Tom Osborne. So anyway, so I walk down there and I see the office says recruiting, and I go to the door, and if I remember correctly, and it's been a long time, and most of you people are saying, how could this guy be in college in the early 90s? You guys are probably thinking he looks so young he should be in diapers. And I appreciate those kind thoughts, but man, I'm starting to wilt. It's really showing, you know what I mean? And so anyway, I go in there, I peek in the door, and there he's sitting there, and all I remember is just shelves about that high all the way. I don't remember being a window in there. It was just recruiting tapes, these VHS tapes just stacked. I mean, you couldn't put another one in there. Because back then, before social media, you had to write letters, you're sending your tapes in. If they're not scouting you, you're sending your stuff into these colleges. I'd imagine how that worked. Today it's probably, you probably got your own page, right? And you send them a link. But back then it was all videotapes. And I knock on the door, and I say, hey, Mr. Gillespie. And he goes, hey, how are you doing? And I says, hey, my name's Tom Sikora. I'm here about the quarterback position. And he goes, oh, where are you from, Tom? And I said, Omaha. And he really looked confused, because he knows anybody that come out of Omaha in the last couple of years that's on campus. He already knows.
Quarterback material.
Yeah, he already knows their names. So he's looking at me like, who's this guy? And he goes, where'd you play ball at? He says. I says, I didn't play high school football. I wrestled. But what you got here don't seem too tough. And he says, well, he kind of made a little snicker there. And he says, we're not quite to the point where we're going to let anybody try out just yet. But write your name and number down, and we'll call you if we get to that point. So I write my name and number down. I give it to him. We have a little pleasantries, and I leave. And so they've never called.
I can't believe that. Can't believe that.
I know.
It's
But
hard.
interesting enough, of course, I tell all my friends the story, right? I'm telling everybody about the story that they could be calling at any moment. And for right now, the Huskers are looking up. They got the new Dylan Raiola. He's down there. We're 3-0. We're 25 ranked. There's a buzz in the state right now. We're excited. We ain't had this buzz in years. I don't think we've had 3 wins in a row at home since 16. So we just had our third win yesterday. Yeah, we're looking good. I got the jersey on, baby. Had to get it out, dust her off a little bit. So
still carrying the football, though.
So I tell all my buddies at work, of course, I work at HP Smith Ford at the dealership up there on 50th and L. It's gone now. There's a Walmart there. But my old boss, Mike Tiederman, good dude. I tell him the story. He's a big Husker fan. I think he's actually a distant cousin to Tom Osborne. So this is years later. This is probably 6 years later. At this time, there's 3 national championships under their belts. I believe this is a time frame because Dave Gillespie had left the Huskers, went to Kansas. He came back, and Mike Tiederman says to me, he goes, hey, there's a big red dinner coming up, and Dave Gillespie is speaking at this dinner. So I'm like, well, hey. He says, why don't you come along? Yeah. I got a spot for you at the table. He bought a table for all of him and his buddies. Tiederman, he bought a table, yep, and he says, why don't you come along? So I get there for this dinner where Dave Gillespie's going to speak, and of course, all his buddies already know the story at the table. So I sit down at the table, and Dave Gillespie gives his spiel, and very nice gentleman, and he's all done. He's sitting up on this little riser. It's like a hotel banquet hall, like a room with all these tables, and so he's finished, and everybody at the table's like, hey, go see if he remembers you. Old Dave Gillespie. So I go on up. I'm like, hey, Mr. Gillespie, great talk. Tom Sikora, not sure if you remember me. He doesn't remember me until I say, I'm the wrestler that came in to talk to you about being the quarterback in Nebraska. He goes, Tom, how you been? Like it was old home week, just like that. You know what I mean? I'm sure I'm not the only one telling that story. You know what I'm saying? But it's been a lot of fun, that story. And a little caveat to that too, when I graduated in 97-ish, I think it was 97, and I think I was in school for 7 years. They don't call me a doctor, if you know what I'm saying. It took me a little bit to get through. But they have the pavilion down there where the Huskers play inside. And they close it down for practices. And if they open it up for the students who are at the recreational center, right? You can go in there and kick a soccer ball around, and I'm in there with some buddies, and it's springtime in 97, and there's these players who were trying out for the combine, they're timing each other for the combine. They're going to go for the NFL, right? And big dudes. I'm talking like 6'4", 240, 250, and they're timing each other, and these guys are huge, and you're right down next to them, and they're just moving fast. I'm thinking, man, I'm glad that phone never rang. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it's been a lot of fun. We had some bad years there with the Huskers, and even guys at work. like that on that Monday after that, it was a hard week for the Huskers. They got beat bad. And my buddy Chad always asked, "Did they call you this last weekend?" I was like, no, I didn't hear nothing from them. And sometimes I'll call my mom and say, "Hey, Ma,
Phone
Huskers
working?
Huskers
The phone's
call.
still working?
They need me." You know what I'm saying? But they never called. But anyway, maybe they will. They still got my name and number. Hopefully they don't, because it looks like they're doing pretty good. We're hoping for good things. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed that story. We enjoyed sharing it. Keep an eye out for our next one, where I'm going to tell a little story about Lawrence Phillips, and I had him in a class. And I'm going to share that one with you too. Thank you so much. Tell your neighbors and friends.
Is that the jersey you got from Nebraska? Football?
This is it is TJ Maxx clearance rack. You know what I'm saying? But
I was confused.
It'd be a lot cooler if they did give me one, huh?
Well,
but no, they
yeah.
did not. But thank you for asking. Though.
Well,
I appreciate you putting me on the
I
spot.
wanted to work.
This guy, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Thank you so much for joining. Tell your neighbors and friends. We'll catch you next time on South Omaha Speed.
How was that, John?